Tamworth Castle rises like a forgotten war cry above the meeting of the Tame and Anker rivers. Its battlements etched with time, its stones steeped in stories few dare to speak aloud. To most, it is a relic of Norman might, built in the 11th century, gifted by William the Conqueror to his loyal warlord Robert de Marmion. But beneath its great hall and over its spiral staircases walks something older than stone, the spirit of a Saxon saint, awakened not by sin, but by sacrilege. Before the Norman conquest, the land had already been made holy. In the 9th century, Saint Editha, daughter of King Edgar, founded a convent near Tamworth, a refuge of peace in a turbulent world. There she lived and died, in prayer, in charity, and in quiet strength. Her bones lay undisturbed for generations. Her name was still spoken in reverence by the nuns, who carried on her mission. Then came de Marmion, bold, brash, and blood-soaked from William's campaigns. He saw the convent not as sacred ground, but as a waste of land and loyalty. With sword at his hip and contempt in his voice, he expelled the nuns from their sanctuary, their cries unheard as they were driven into the wilderness. And in their sorrow, they prayed not to saints for comfort, but to Editha for justice. That very night, the temperature within the castle dropped like sudden frost. The torches burned low. Guards reported whispers in the walls and cold breath on their necks. But worst of all was what happened in de Marmion's own chamber. He awoke with a start. The air was charged. A figure stood at the foot of his bed, cloaked in light, but not heavenly. She wore a habit of faded white, her face pale and stern, her eyes full of divine fury. In her hands she gripped a crosier, blackened at the end as if forged in fire. Without speaking a word, she struck him, the blow ringing like iron on iron. He cried out, thrashing beneath invisible weight. Guards burst in, only to find him alone, blood on his face and eyes wide with terror. His voice was hoarse but clear. "She has come, the Holy One. I have wronged the blessed dead." By morning, de Marmion had restored the convent, granted it land, and paid penance. But the spirit of Saint Editha had tasted justice, and her spirit lingered. To this day, visitors to the castle have reported seeing a nun in white on the stairs, gliding without sound, her crosier in hand. Others have found themselves frozen with fear inside the de Marmion chamber, feeling a sudden pressure as though being judged. One guard in the 1950s swore he heard a voice whisper from the corner, "Trespass, not where mercy was cast out." Saint Editha watches still, and she remembers. Tamworth Castle holds more than the wrath of saints. Along its ancient terrace, where ivy clings and the wind moves like memory, another ghostly presence mourns beneath the sky. She is known simply as the White Lady, a figure of quiet grief who gazes endlessly across the valley, her story etched into legend and heartbreak. Centuries ago, the terrace was a place of romance and dread, for it was there that Lady Elaine, a noble woman of striking beauty, would wait for her lover, the dark and formidable Sir Tarquin. Tarquin was no hero. He was a knight of cruelty, infamous for capturing and imprisoning noble warriors in his private dungeon, holding them ransom or worse. Yet, for all his misdeeds, he loved Elaine, and she, inexplicably, loved him. Some said she saw the man beneath the armor. Others said she was blind to all but his charm. But fate would not let evil rest unpunished. One morning, word reached the castle. Sir Lancelot, greatest of Arthur's knights, was coming. He had sworn to slay Tarquin, and free his imprisoned brethren. And so they met, steel to steel, in the woods beyond the castle, the battle echoing like thunder through the trees. Lady Elaine stood on the terrace, her eyes searching the forest below. For hours she waited, clutching the stone railing, knuckles white. And when at last the battle ended and silence fell, she saw him, Lancelot, walking alone, his sword crimson. Tarquin was dead. They say she fell to her knees and did not speak for days, that she died of a broken heart within the month, that her last breath was spent whispering, "Forgive me." Now her spirit walks the terrace. At dusk, when the light is thin and the world turns grey, she appears, her gown fluttering without wind, her face pale, her gaze fixed on the distant trees. Those who dare approach say she vanishes when touched, leaving behind a chill in the air and the faint smell of roses or blood. Sometimes, late at night, she is heard weeping, her cries mingling with the wind, searching forever for the knight who never returned. If you enjoyed this eerie tale from Britain's haunted past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below with your favorite legend, or share a chilling local story of your own.